Hello and welcome to the first episode of the PIN Online podcast. I'm Jed Thomas, content editor at ILM Media, and I'm joined by Alan Booth, senior editor at ILM Media.
Hi Jed, I'm glad to be with you. We're making this podcast to help you as the industry listener stay ahead of the curve on issues such as process and safety monitoring systems, especially as the petroleum and petrochemical sector continues to rapidly evolve.
So to dive deeper into anything that we discussed today, just head over to www.petro-online.com. You can subscribe today for free to unlock expert-led articles, videos and webinars, and all of the relevant pieces that we discussed today will be in the show notes. So we're kicking off this podcast with a mini-series on all of the key technologies that are driving Industry 4.0 in the petrochemical sector. So like other industries, oil and gas is looking at Internet of Things, big data analytics, AI and robotics. So we're going to focus on the practical, applicable technologies that are coming out of this new wave. And first off, we're going to look at minimizing latency and maximizing security of communication with technologies like private 5G and edge computing.
So what's private 5G?
Yeah, so private 5G is a high-speed wireless telecoms network that a given company owns and operates for its own use. It's totally separate. It's designed to be totally separate from public telecoms infrastructure, so there's less congestion in that network. As a result, you get very ultra low latency and high bandwidth. So across massive industrial sites, we're talking refineries, offshore platforms, and pipeline networks. Wi-Fi and public cellular networks, they just aren't designed to be instantaneous or highly reliable. But private 5G has a limited set of users, massive device density, but a limited set of users with a dedicated telecoms infrastructure. So it makes it super reliable and robust. It gets latency as low as 1 millisecond, so it's essentially instantaneous. And like I said, massive device density. All of your sensors, cameras, and safety monitors can all be connected and communicating on this network.
Okay, and so what's edge computing then?
So you've got to contrast it with cloud computing, where you have a central server that all of your computers are communicating with. In edge computing, you're processing data that is generated close to wherever that server is. That's the edge of the network. Whether that's on a platform, offshore platform, or control room, or even inside of a smart sensor, you can have a server that's communicating with other computers. So you don't have to send all your data to a main cloud server, which has all sorts of complications to it. Your local systems analyze your information, make decisions, and respond in real time. Like 5G, this massively improves the speed and responsiveness of your telecommunications networks, and you tend to use less bandwidth as a result, so you also save money on that. The point is with edge computing is that unlike with cloud computing, there's not a chance of the server going down or something else happening outside of your operation that means that your systems are no longer communicating with each other. So that's the point of edge computing. It's more robust, more reliable.
And so does that combination of private 5G and edge computing help with safety?
Yes, because if you use the low latency that you get from these systems and you pair it with an efficient sort of system design for all of your sensors, you can get a network of smart wearables that enable much quicker responses. And smart wearables, I'm talking, gas badges that monitor exposure, biometric sensors for vital signs, even location trackers that make sure that no workers are off by themselves and in danger of, if they get hurt, there's no one around to help them. If you have these smart wearables all linked up together, that alerts your workers, supervisors to gas leaks, heat stress, and falls. And if you connect all of these sensors up to another layer of process, you can trigger shutdowns in milliseconds because of the reliability and speed of these networks. And there's also an added component if we're, again, talking about Industry 4.0 and AI is a massive part of that. If you have a localized server that stores all of your data that's being generated about safety, if you're storing all of your safety reports on a localized server on the edge, you have not only easy, absolutely reliable access to those reports, you can also use AI models to generate forecasting, generate basic protocols based on all of the accumulated data that you have of past failures. So you can use these systems to create a more customized, specific response to particular safety, particular dangers that your site is experiencing. So you can set up, a set of variables that can trigger certain responses as a result of particular conditions being observed that were related to past failures.
Okay, so what you're saying is the AI model sort of will learn what it needs to worry about above and beyond what's mandated in terms of safety. What about the security of the system itself?
Yeah, so that's another big benefit to using these systems. I'm sure people can already guess that they're much more secure simply because they're not connected up, they're not part of open channels. Private 5G, isolated, encrypted network, no exposure to public traffic, minimizing your cybersecurity risks. Edge computing also avoids sending data across these open channels, which can be vulnerable depending on the channels you're using. As a result, using them together just massively reduce your cyber attack surface.
Okay, but how does private 5G and edge computing then help with automation?
Personally, as oil and gas sector continues to automate, I think these sort of systems will become essential. They'll become industry standards. If you're using automated systems, robotics, or teleoperation, you need high-speed communications. Well, not only high-speed communications, you need massively fast and massively reliable communications. And you also need systems that can handle a large amount of different connected devices, because that's the sort of trajectory of the industry, is to have this Internet of Things, all of your sensors, machines, and control mechanisms all communicating together. So private 5G gives you that bandwidth, gives you that latency to support those thousands of devices. And edge computing means you can make all your decisions locally. You don't have to worry about if cloud access gets lost and not being able to store your data. And you don't have to worry about if Wi-Fi goes down or cellular networks go down. All of your systems together will be reliably connected if you're using private 5G and edge computing. So that means, like we're talking about, monitoring, adjusting, responding, you can always do that. There's no chance that your systems will be offline at a certain point and then your safety protocols will not be initiated or whatever like that. And so these private 5G and edge computing lay the groundwork for autonomous drones to perform inspections, ground robots to navigate platforms, and AI-powered control mechanisms managing pumps, compressors, and valves in real time. You can imagine, let's say, an offshore platform. You have your gas detectors, your thermal cameras, pressure monitors, even structural, asset health sensors, all connected, communicating using this private 5G network, and all of the data flowing in real time to an edge node. Don't have to rely on a satellite link, don't have to rely on an undersea cable, and your AI model can analyze thermal images for hotspots, detect gas concentrations rising above potentially dangerous levels, or just flag any unusual movements. In essence, it's fast, local, and totally self-contained. Just like me, actually. But not like this episode. Isn't that right, Alan?
Oh, that's right. You can find out a lot more about private 5G and edge computing over at www.petro-online.com. Subscribers get access to exclusive, expert-led articles, recorded conference presentations, as well as webinars.
And speaking of subscribing, don't forget, whoever's listening, do whatever you have to do on whatever platform you're listening to us on right now to not miss an episode.
Now, I would usually encourage you to join us next time when we'll be getting acquainted with the wonderful world of AI-powered predictive maintenance. But our incredibly sophisticated AI model has already predicted which of you will be tuning back in, so there's no need.
If only. Cheers, Alan.